What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Welcome to the Off the Cuff stream. Guys, we do a live show Monday through Friday here on the Time Teller channel. And if you don't see me doing a live show, it's probably because we did an edited review, as we are known to do. I have one coming out tomorrow for you party people, so I will not see you live, but it'll be worth it, okay? And if you don't see anything from me, it's probably because I have a medical appointment, but you know, I put out as much content as I can for you. So one thing that has been pretty much the bane of my existence ever since starting the Time Teller channel was talking about various brands I think are underrated and showing you my Certina DS2 Chronolympic, which is a very, very cool watch with a very cool history. It's the bane of my existence because people end up asking, well, why don't you talk about more Certinas? Why doesn't anyone talk about more Certinas? And I have finally compiled some data to really go over it to you concisely, clearly, and hopefully without too much waffling on. I'm just kidding. I talk so much. There's no way that I could ever stop waffling on. But here I go again. It is 3:30 p.m. Let's get down to business. Doug is here. Patel Philippe. Hello, big dog. Have a good long weekend. Thank you, brother. Thank you for seeing me here. And I do appreciate all super chats, and I appreciate anyone who shows up live. And guys, if you can't be here live, I get it. Sometimes you're in a different part of the world. Sometimes you're at work. Sometimes you have other obligations with your family. And don't worry, these get uploaded to YouTube, and you can watch them like a long podcast. Or you can try to catch me live, and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so Certina, right? I think they're very cool, and not just vintage, all right? Like, unfortunately, when we look at certain brands, I'm just going to throw this out here. Movado. I think Movado is very cool vintage. I always have to, like, kind of put that little caveat. I think they're kind of turning certain things around currently, but you can actually look specifically at a date where things changed for Movado. And it was right around the mid-'80s. It changed hands, and this was, you know, the Zenith partnership was great for Movado, and then they kind of went into this whole fashion watch, like, self-destruction mode. And then they came out with a heritage line, and they're kind of trying to do cool things again. But we will wait and see. But then there's companies that I think are still cool to this day that also had really cool vintage offerings, but that no one seems to talk about. Mido is one of them, and yes, Certina is one of them. Now, Certina, like Mido, and Tissot, and even Omega, are all owned by the holding group Swatch. Okay, Swatch Group. They own many brands. Now, here's the thing. I have some visuals for you. So, in Swiss francs, okay, we're going to look at Swatch Group brand revenue. This is estimated in Swiss franc millions, okay? So, Swatch, which is the kind of, you know, they're the people that do the Moon Swatch collaborations and other, you know, the System 51s or whatever, and I remember their heyday was really in the 90s. I remember growing up and having awesome little Swatch watches that my dad would get us. But this is estimated, I think this is via information that was found in 2023. But Swatch, 500 million. Tissot, boom. Longines, boom. Omega, obviously. Omega is up top. Obviously. That is not surprising. Hamilton, Mido, and Hamilton and Mido are actually pretty close, which is actually surprising to me. But what is not surprising to me is Certina being at the bottom. Okay, that is unfortunate, but it's also it makes sense when we look at the popularity within the brands. And just to oops, I just went to my podcast. By the way, guys, I do a podcast on another channel every Monday through Friday also. Sometimes I do it before this show. Sometimes I do it after, depending on, you know, when I can actually get in front of y'all. Okay, I have another visual representation, brand popularity index. Okay, check this out. So this is by countries. So we have Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Germany, Switzerland, and the US. This kind of lighter color, I'm very bad with colors. We're going to say it's yellow, only because there seems to be like kind of like a red-orange below it. So with yellow, we see Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary. Certina seems to be very, very popular, which is what we theorized. It seems like the Eastern and some Central European countries, Certina kind of kills it, right? Then it dips a little bit in Germany, dips more in Switzerland, and then it just tanks in North America, specifically USA, right? Below that, we have Tissot. All right, popular in Poland, not as popular as Certina. Czech Republic dips a little bit, still, again, Certina is above it. Hungary, Certina's crushing them, but dipping. Then in Germany, Tissot, like, spikes, right? Same thing happened, or excuse me, I'm here. Certina, spikes, right? Oh my God, I keep saying Certina. Tissot, let me do this again. In Hungary, Tissot dips a little, and then in Germany, Tissot spikes. Then it gets even higher in Switzerland, and then in America, it gets even higher, right? I'm sorry for confusing some of you guys. Tissot is the one in the orange. And this makes sense. And I have a feeling that the PRX really had a lot to do with that, the resurgence of the PRX. Then we look here in red, okay? Poland. Okay. Czech Republic dips. Hungary dips more. Then much like Tissot, it spikes. Hamilton spikes in Germany. Then it gets higher in Switzerland. Then it gets higher, again, similar trajectory to Tissot when it comes to like regionally based, right? But that also makes sense. Hamiltons are incredibly popular in America. And what probably has the most to do with it is the fact that Hamilton used to be an American company. So, what's unfortunate is people are upset that people like me do not talk about Certina, but Swatch Group doesn't put or allocate as many funds, marketing efforts to Certina as a brand because their bottom line is the bottom line, right? They are a holding group. They are supposed to make money. They're going to allocate enough to each brand, but they also want to follow path of least resistance. And they see like, hey, Eastern and Central Europe is kind of your bag, Certina. So that's where we want you to market. That's where we want you to have official sales. And in the US, North America, not so much, right? If we looked at Rado, it would be spiking in Pakistan, which is crazy. It's super random, right? And by proxy, Rado does very well in the UK. Why is that? The UK has a very, very large Pakistani population. So I don't know why that is. I suppose if I could do some type of focus group and talk to a bunch of Pakistani people, maybe we could find out what is appealing to them about Rado watches. But it's just not... again, brands do path of least resistance. So they know they're going to make money in a certain area. That's where they're going to go, right? All right, moving on. Not to a different topic, but a different point that I want to make about Certina that I think could also explain why they're not as popular as, say, Tissot or Hamilton. By the way, Patel Philippe with the super chat. Thoughts on Laurier watches? I have not yet reviewed one. I don't think I've reviewed one. You know what? Let me Google this. Have I reviewed one? I know they look cool. I know they look very cool. I'm going to do what everyone of you guys does, the time teller. I search the time teller, then I write a brand. Let's see. I have not reviewed one. That's a bummer. They do look cool. If I recall, though, they're one of those brands that we've had like various back and forths with, and then just never like solidified something. That's a bummer. They do look very cool. I remember they had some super compressor that I thought was dual crown diver, I should say, that looked very cool. Okay, back to Certina. I think there's another reason why they're not super popular here. Vintage Certinas made their way to America, okay? Then they dipped out. They are technically a very young brand here in the US. And that's because they only relaunched officially in the United States in 2019. And a lot of people don't realize that. And it's because they look at their watches, they look at their catalog, they look at vintage Certinas, and they assume that they've been here like the whole time, and they haven't. I believe that they came here in 2019 with help of like a Hodinkee distribution or something. Like a Hodinkee, really. I think. But they're very young here to have official sales. And that's obviously also going to... There's going to be a bit of a curve when it comes to how they are received and how much they can put out. So, again, we have... so I have the information here. Low brand visibility. We can look at this as well. Why Certina isn't big in the U.S. market? Low brand visibility in the U.S. until 2019. Certina wasn't even officially sold. That's a skewed bit of information. They were sold before that in like the vintage years, but yeah. Swatch Group focused on Tissot, Hamilton, and Omega. That's very true. Retail absence equals no buzz. Very few U.S. retailers stock Certina. It's nearly invisible unless you dig into the gray market or watch nerd forums. This third point is very, very big from a business standpoint. Overlap within Swatch Group. Certina's specs overlap with Tissot and Mido. This is very, very true. Okay? There's something called cannibalization, product cannibalization. And this is true with service industries as well. If you're offering a certain service, you don't want to offer another tier of service that is close enough or undercutting another product or service that will cannibalize those sales, creating confusion within your brand. You do not want that. That's something that you can go to thesimpleconsultant.com and learn more about. That is the website for JF Goodman Consulting Group, the firm that I've been running before I ever had a YouTube channel. So you can go enjoy that stuff. If you have a brand or business and you want to know how to get views, you want to know how to get sales and just make your name bigger online, you can go ahead and hire us. Anyway, shameless plug. Stronghold in Eastern Europe. Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Germany all have better Certina access. Known locally as tough, dependable, real person's watch, especially their DS Accident Diver and DS PH 200 meter. Lack of influencer content marketing. That's very true, but it's because they don't, like, I'm going to be honest, even Omega has written to me. Like Omega, Oris. I've done work with Oris. Orient. Right? Like, these bigger brands have spoken to me. I don't know a single guy that has worked with Certina. Maybe Teddy, because he's probably a dealer for them at this point. But I don't think that many have had official, outreach from someone at Certina. Dude, there's someone that has done multiple reviews with me, and it's probably the biggest of all of them. Casio of America, heard of them? Even they've reached out to me. And I'm not the biggest, baddest dude on the block. So it's kind of crazy. If they can do it, like Swatch Group. Come on, give Certina the juice. All right, help them out. So okay, let me see. Again, this is kind of reiterated. Yeah, this is based upon 2023 estimations. Swatch had about 5.8 million units sold. This is all estimated. Tissot, 3.1 million units sold. Longines, 1.6 million units sold. Omega, 570,000. Hamilton, 138,000. Mito, 123,000. Certina, 155,000. So, interesting. But I just think Mike says, quick check, yes, Teddy is a Certina retailer. I know that Teddy has done reviews, so if you want, if you, specifically the viewer, want to see a good Certina review, then by all means, you're going to have to search for it. That's kind of the point of what we were talking about, which is really frustrating because a lot of other watchmakers do the legwork to put their brands out there to a higher extent. But you also have to understand why. Path of least resistance. It's a bummer. But so all of this is to say that I don't think there's a personal reason that watch reviewers don't speak more heavily about Certina. I also don't think that there is an issue with their products that make it so watch media doesn't talk about them. I think that Certina is more difficult to access. I know firsthand it's easier to get a connection even with Omega than it is with Certina, which is weird because Omega, I think, objectively is seen as a more hoity-toity, high-end tier of watchmaking. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think their products are very good. I don't think there's an issue with their products. I don't think there's an issue personally that Certina is looked down upon in the watch world. I just think it's unfortunate altogether. We got another super chat from Patel Philippe. What's more iconic, Seiko SKX or Seiko Turtle? SKX. What's a better watch? Seiko Turtle. So there you have it. Seiko SKX is more iconic, but the Seiko Turtle is a better watch. So it is what it is. Ryan, God bless you, dude. Hope your health is okay. Thank you so much. Speaking of, I have to quickly upload a Patreon video, and then I have to go to physical therapy. So pray for me, guys. Every time I finish physical therapy, like for the next 2 days, feels like I got hit by a fucking semi. Oh my God, swear jar. Swear jar. Sorry, if there are kids in the room, I dropped the no-no word. All right, guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just